Hey there, everyone. My name is Nick Ignan, and today we'll be taking a look at the problems we're currently facing with inefficiencies in agricultural irrigation. As we all know, we live in a constantly changing world that has a population growing at an exponential rate. In order to keep up with the surplus of people, we rely heavily on the agricultural section for substantial crop production. These farms are tasked with producing enough food to feed us year round. So, with the continuous need for food, we run to our issue at hand. In order to grow crops reliably, farms must have a substantial amount of water. The water that is primarily used is pulled from lakes and rivers and streams. These water sources are the same ones used for residential and industrial purposes as well. This draw of water from different sources constitutes for 80% of the US's freshwater usage, and it's all going to agriculture. Um, Across the span of the entire world, agriculture uses 69% of all fresh water available. So the problem lies in the fact that most farms use inefficient techniques to water their crops, resulting in excessive usage and ultimately waste. When water is used in a careless manner, it can lead to depletion of freshwater sources and other problems like watershed depletion, saltwater intrusion, ecosystem destruction, reduced potable water, which is, another word for drinking water, and then increased runoff, which leads to more pollution. So, in terms of impacts on the areas around Charlotte and North Carolina, there are a number of issues we could face. We could see water restrictions that might have to be imposed in the event that too much water is used. Recreational water sport could also be unavailable due to the decrease in lake and stream levels. Local wildlife would also have to relocate to find substantial homes and water sources so that they can continue to live. And then vegetation and growth around these water sources would also begin to die off. And then finally, around the coastal areas of North Carolina, we could see a saltwater intrusion into the freshwater sources, and that would cause massive displacement because people wouldn't have clean drinking water. In terms of a global impact, the hardest hit areas would be the ones that have arid, more dry climates because they're already very scarce on water. The most prominent effects over there would be there will be food shortages because of the reduction in water. And in turn, there would be a reduction in trade revenue because of the lack of available supply they have to go and send out. There will also be a loss of water sources for residencies, and also an increase in arid and unsustainable land, which is unfit for farming. Their current state of aridity will just go and grow and continue to encompass most of the area in the other parts of the world. And then let's not forget increased pollution as well due to the runoff associated with excessive water use. So, in order to limit these impacts, we need to strive to take action sooner than later. In order to do this, we must preserve the health of the world's freshwater supply, and we can't continue to ignore this issue. Governments, organizations, and other groups of environmentally conscious citizens need to step up and lead the change to regulate and improve the current practices being used in agriculture. And the best way to go and solve this approach is as a unified and global effort. So there are 5 ways we can go and help solve this issue as we move into the future. To start, we need to educate farmers on the output of their irrigation systems by checking their precipitation rates. This requires the farmers to analyze the amount of water they're applying to a specific area, and by doing so, they're analyzing the amount of evapotranspiration present on their farms. By doing this, we can understand how much water is actually needed to sustain their farms. And by understanding the coverage area and how fast it evaporates, farmers can have an idea of how much water they're using and losing as a result of overwatering. So, this being said, evapotranspiration is the process where water will go and evaporate from the land and transpire back up into the atmosphere. what is happening on most of these farms, their irrigation systems will mainly water the leaves and not the root base, causing the water to evaporate and not go and, well, um, provide enough nutrients to the plant, therefore causing it to die and need more water. That being said, this process will allow farmers to go and understand, hey, I need to make sure that I'm using a sufficient amount enough of water, but at the same time not overwatering to go and cause excessive evaporation. Another method we can use is known as a drip irrigation system. Drip irrigation systems are known as some of the most efficient forms of water distribution when it comes to watering crops or fields. It minimizes the amount of evapotranspiration while administering water to the roots of the crops. It uses less water than a traditional irrigation system as well. And it's also very easy to implement across a variety of different size farms due to the, well, easily accessible nature of the technology. Drip irrigation systems are mainly, how do I say this? They are a series of tubes with holes poked in them, and the water will go and slowly drip out into the root bases. This allows the plants to go and receive a substantial amount of water while not wasting any as well. The next way we can go and help solve this problem is by educating the public. They play another key role in solving this issue. So by informing the public about the dire nature of agricultural irrigation inefficiencies, we can go and start reformation efforts to help these problems. There's a lack of public knowledge due to the little press it gets in the media, but with a large base of support in favor of water and efficient irrigation efforts, regulators will feel more pressured into acting on these issues. So a higher involvement increases the public awareness, and preventing the issue will directly impact their communities. Now, going off of that, farmers have a series of different technologies they can use. They can implement more yield modeling tools. That's another great way to reduce water consumption. Yield modeling tools are key in the decision-making process for farmers, and these programs are used by farmers to predict potential crop growth for a given period. The information is usually based off of weather patterns, climate data, and previous crop yields. The information gathered from these forecasting techniques really allow farmers to go and gauge if they will require additional irrigation to reach their desired yield for the year. And then we have one more way that pertains to technology, and that is the farmers using an array of remote sensing technologies. This could be in the form of drones, UAVs, and satellites, which are all key instruments in pinpointing possible issues with their current irrigation methods. The imaging from these devices allow farmers to go identify problems before they impact crops. So this could be in the form of water pooling up around their farm, crops not getting enough water, and then areas of substantial runoff. So to go and review what we've covered, our population grows and we must go and pay closer attention to our water consumption, especially in the agricultural industry, seeing as though as time goes on, we're going to have to keep using lots and lots of water. Now, if these problems aren't addressed, we run the risk of running out of fresh water for the consumption and sustainable living environments around us. By using technological advances and educating the public, we can go and work towards a more water-conscious approach to irrigation. And if we continue our efforts of making agriculture more efficient, we'll be able to provide a better future for the generations to come. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate you all for taking the and I will look forward to talking to you guys more next time. Thanks.